and welcome, welcome, welcome. This is Whole and Beautiful, and I am Angela Oliphant, your host. I am so glad that you all have joined me again tonight for another phenomenal night of Whole and Beautiful, where we are bringing you information, revelation, and change. This is going to be another great night. It is. It really is. I want to say happy Thanksgiving to everyone who celebrated on yesterday. Some cultures celebrate it, some cultures don't. But every day is a day of Thanksgiving, and that's the way I look at it. Every day is a day to give thanks. It's a day to be with your family. It's a day to be with your friends. It's a day to reunite with some people. So even if you didn't celebrate Thanksgiving on yesterday or any days during this month, you can always celebrate your family. You can always celebrate those that are around you and reach out to them and just forgive, get reunited with some people, and just enjoy the holiday season. We are stepping into this holiday season now. We're moving on, and everybody's focus is shifted. Everybody's out shopping. They're shifting for Christmas and for however you celebrate the holiday. I celebrate it as Christmas, Christ being born, but a lot of people celebrate things differently, but that's not what we're talking about tonight. But I just wanted to say happy Thanksgiving. Even though it is the day after we're doing like leftovers, the day after we are, a lot of people relaxed today and didn't even do a whole lot today. I didn't have that privilege today. I had to go to work. I had to go back to work today. And then today was my late day, so I had to stay in there late, and then I had to get home and get set up so that I could be here with you tonight. Yes, because I didn't want to miss out on Whole and Beautiful, because if I'm not here, the show's not here. Y'all will be seeing a replay, but I want it to be live and in color for tonight. So that's what I decided to do, is get here so that I can be here for you all. I wanted to remind you all that couples conversations, we're still doing couples conversations. So if you know of a couple that you would like to see on the show, send me an email, wholebeautiful@gmail.com, and I will get in contact with them. And I will talk to them to see if we can get them on the show. Also, I'm still doing my mentoring moments. I would love to talk to some men out there who are mentoring other men and just setting an example, even in the young ladies' lives, that you're setting an example for them to follow, or you're pouring into them in any way, shape, or form, which is good. That's going to help build their confidence, help push them forward. I want to talk to you. I want to see what programs you have out there. Let's get it out there and let people know what's going on in your ministry, in your organization, in your just daily life of pouring into somebody else. Those are things that I'm looking into, my couples conversations, my mentoring moments. We are always doing interviews with different people. So if you have somebody that you say, oh, they have a good story, they have something that will bring some information to the table, that will bring about a revelation and a change in some people's lives, send me an email about them. Let me know who they are. I will contact them and we will get them on the show, because I believe that everybody has a story. I believe everybody has something that they can share. They have some information that they can share that will bring about a change in somebody else's life. So don't let it be out there where people are not tuning in, or they don't know about the show. Let them know. Like, share, comment this particular show, and let people know that I'm out there, okay? So that they can come in, they can listen, they can hear what's going on, and they can be partakers of the whole and beautiful nation. Because you are a part of that whole and beautiful nation, and I am so glad that you are here with me on tonight. Guys, I am going to talk to you a little bit tonight about something that I was debating about of having it on tonight. I was trying to decide, what am I going to talk about this day after Thanksgiving? And so many things were crossing my mind, and so many things were in my heart, and I was wondering, what can I share with the whole and beautiful nation on tonight. What can I share that's going to help somebody? You know, the information that you get that's going to help somebody else. I wanted to give you something that was going to help you. I wanted to give you something that was going to encourage you, that was going to give you not only the information, but maybe it was going to bring a revelation where the light bulb would go on and you would get it and you will understand it. And then with that revelation, it can bring about a change in your life. And that's what I want to do. That is exactly what I want to do. I want to bring that information to you tonight. So I am going to talk to you a little bit tonight about grief. And the reason why I wanted to talk to you, I was trying to find a show that I did a while ago, and it was talking about grief. And I had put on a recording of my friend Karen Ross, and she taught a class about grief, and she went through the different stages, and she talked to different people, and it was such good information that I wanted to share that with you again, but I could not find the recording where I could have it set up so that you all could listen to that once again. It's been maybe a few years ago that I placed it on. I was on the radio portion then, but it was such good information. But I went through and I studied some stuff. I was looking at some stuff, and I wanted to share this information with you tonight about what I was looking at as far as like with grief, with the symptoms of grief. You have different things that happen in your life that brings about grief. You can have a strong feeling of sadness or sorrow. You have the inability sometimes to focus. Sometimes people who are grieving have lack of trust, the feelings of loss of purpose or intention in life, consuming thoughts of that which you lost. Your mind is just consumed with what has been lost, whether it was a person, whether it was a job, whether it was, some things changed in your life and you're grieving over the old thing while you're getting ready to move into the new thing. Sometimes it's even denial of the loss that you've had because it happened so suddenly and you can't wrap your mind around, I always say wrap my brain around. I can't wrap my brain around that. It's like you can't process it because it happened so quickly, or it happened and you were not expecting it. I look at that and I look at grief and I look at the different things that we go through, especially during this holiday season, because for some of us, it is a joyous time and we're having an awesome time. With some of us, we're walking through and you're dealing with the grief, you're dealing with the loss. Sometimes, like during this season, this is the first time some people are celebrating the holiday without that loved one that they had. Some people are celebrating this holiday, or in this holiday season, their jobs have switched, or maybe they got laid off, or maybe they had a pet and they don't have that pet anymore. And this is the first year that they don't have their pet because a lot of people with their pets are like their children. It's like a part of their family. So they may not have that particular pet with them this year. And it's like when you're walking through that grief and you're walking through that loss, I wanted you to know that you're not alone. And I wanted you to know that you need to feel it so that you can release it. It's not that it's going to go away and it will never be there again. It's just that you're able to walk through the process and get to the other side of it. And what is getting to the other side? Getting to the other side is where you are graduating gradually into letting some things go. You still hold on to the memory, but it doesn't hurt as much. You're not like isolating yourself or pulling yourself apart from people. You're not, trying to be happy in front of everybody and then crying yourself to sleep at night, or just crying throughout the course of a whole day and not being able to control it. You'll get to the point where you will begin to heal, but you don't forget. So you may have those days where you be like, oh, yeah. And you may have those days that rise up and you're like, oh, that's a lot still. And it could be like years later. It could be months later, years later. But I want you to know that you're not alone. And I want you to know that you need to feel what you're going through. Because a lot of times we try to push away our feelings, and we don't feel what we're going through. We try to suppress it. We try to push it to the side. No, I'm not going to cry. No, I'm not going to feel bad about this. I'm going to just keep going. I'm going to keep moving. I'm going to keep doing this. And we try to push it away, and we don't deal with it because we think it's a sign of weakness, or we don't want others to see us break down. We don't want others to see us cry, even though we are breaking down on the inside. Oh, we don't want nobody else to see that. So, because I'm always the strong person, I'm all the ways that, the person that takes care of everybody else. And for somebody else to see me grieving, to see me crying, to see me going through this thing that I'm going through, I don't want them to see that. So what do? I try to stuff it. I try to push it to the side. I feel tears welling up in my eyes, or feel that heaviness here, and I just like swallow it, because I don't want anybody else to know, because I don't want to see them, let them see me in what I deem to be a weak place. And I want to tell you, it's not a weak place. We all grieve. We all go through different bouts of grief, and we deal with it differently. Each person will deal with it differently. So if you are the person that cries, cry. Sit in that, cry, and release. Crying is a form of release. Let the tears flow. That person, it was close to you. That may have been your friend, that may have been your mom, that may have been your dad, that may have been a cousin. It could have been somebody that you was really close to, that's not your blood relative, but they were blood relative. Grieve. Let the tears flow. Sit in that, feel it, and be able to start to release some things. You're not releasing the person, but you are releasing some of that stress, some of that pressure off of you. Because we hurt. We're human beings, and we hurt. So don't pretend like you're not hurt. Don't pretend like it doesn't bother you. Express what you're feeling. And if you feel the tears coming, let the tears flow. If you have to be sitting alone by yourself, get yourself someplace where you can sit and you can just let the tears flow. In the Bible, the shortest scripture, John 11:35 says Jesus wept. Jesus wept. He was going, when he came back, Lazarus had already died. And Lazarus was Jesus' friend. And Jesus wept. Even though he was going to raise him up from the dead, it hurt that his friend had died. So you want to sit in that. You don't want to push your emotions to the side. You don't want to push what you're feeling to the side. Get with somebody, talk to somebody. I know a lot of people talking about, therapy now and stuff. It's good to have a good therapist. It's good to have somebody who you can sit and you can talk to. It's good to have a good friend that you can talk to. You need a form of release. Somebody that you can talk to, not necessarily where you're looking for them to give you the answer to everything, because not everybody has the answer to everything. They don't. But sometimes you need that friend where you can just sit and talk and just talk about everything that's going on. And sometimes you didn't even lose the loved one. It's just some things have shifted and some things have changed. Sometimes things just have shifted. Hear me, guys. And it just has changed. What do you mean, Angela? When you are sitting you're with someone and their life is changing, and you're seeing them like what with parents. Sometimes you're seeing your parents get older. So you're having this shift in your mind. Sometimes people grieve the loss of who their parents used to be. And sometimes parents will grieve the loss of who their children used to be because they're not the little kids like they were anymore. They're grown ups now. And sometimes people will grieve over the loss of not having that baby, not having that small child with them anymore. Now that person is grown. Sometimes you have adult children who are grieving over the process of, man, my dad was like this. And now to see him, he was so strong and doing all this stuff. And he was always on it and doing all these different things. And now he has Alzheimer's, or now he has dementia. Now he doesn't remember me. Now he doesn't know who I am. And that's a process of grieving because you don't have that person with you anymore. Not the person that you remember, but you have to walk through that. Sometimes we'll grieve over sicknesses that may attack our own bodies. And you're like, I used to be able to do this, and this, and now I can't because of what's going on in my body or what's going on with me. I can no longer do these things. And you start grieving over what was with you. And now you can't do some of the things that you used to be able to do. There's just different types of grief, that different things that we go through. It's a lot of automatically when somebody says grief, automatically people are thinking about, oh, somebody died, somebody's not with us anymore. And that's a major part of it, yes. But we grieve over losing jobs. We grieve over, like I told you earlier, losing pets. We grieve over just the changing in our lives. Some people, when they can't give birth anymore, they're grieving over the process of, I can't have a child. Some people are grieving over the process that they could not give birth to children. Some people wanted to be married and they are not married, and they thought by now I'd be married. And they're grieving over that, saying, you know what? I'm letting this go. Not that it's too late, because I've seen people who got married that was in their 70s, 80s. Some people even got back together like in their 90s or whatever. I saw a story where they met up back in the nursing home together and got married because they used to date a long time ago, and then they realized they were in the same place and they got married. Both of their spouses had passed away, and they got married to each other. So it's not like it's never gonna happen, but sometimes people are like, you know what, this is not the road that I'm gonna be traveling, and they grieve over the process, over that thing of saying, man, that's not gonna happen for me. I've met people who have said, you know what, I wanted children, but it's too late now. I can't physically birth the children, and I'm okay with that now. But in the beginning, they were not okay with it, but now they are. I've met different people who have said, you know what, I really wanted to be married, but at this point, I don't think that that's the route that's allotted for me. That's not my avenue. That's not where I'm going to be walking. That's not my street, and that's okay. And I'm okay with that. And they're okay with the way that their lives are right now. But we walk through so much in a given day, and we grieve over so much. Sometimes you see your friends going through some things, and you remember, when they were really strong and they were really going forward, and they didn't let anything stop them. And then now you're seeing this person who still has that fight in them. It's just that their body is not cooperating with what they want to do and how they want to go, and the different things. And you go through a grieving process. I'm saying tonight, allow yourself to be human. Allow yourself to walk it out. Don't try to be superhuman like you don't feel, because then later on it will catch up with you, or it will show up in your body. It will show up in the way through sickness. It will show up how you're starting to treat people. It will show up in your blow up, when you're blowing up at everybody and you yelling and you screaming for no reason at all, and they're wondering, what did I do that caused you to talk to me like that? And it's all because of the unprocessed grief, the grief that's just sitting there, that you tried to cover up, that you wanted nothing to do with. I want you to deal with it. I want you to sit in it. I want you to feel it. But then I want you to be able to release it. And sometimes it's gradual. It's gradual. Sometimes when we walk through things and we go through things, we can't deal with it all at one time, but we can deal with portions of it, and just portions, and we take it as we can and process it. I tell you, me, I dealt with grief like differently. When I don't know, it's like I was always one to keep stuff like to myself. Always one to just kind of process things in my head. I never would like say it out of my mouth, but I would just process it in my head and just run it. And it's been years ago. I had so much loss all at one time. I had a friend that passed away. I had relatives that passed away. And then some other people that I knew. It just all happened so fast. And it was, to me, it was like back to back to back to back that this was happening. And it was happening so fast that I could not process it. And I just kind of stuffed it, because I was like, I didn't know how I was going to be if I allowed myself to feel everything at once. And so I just kept going. I kept going, still thinking, but I just kept going, and I kept going, and I kept going. And I remember one day I was coming home. I had to drop my daughter off. I dropped my daughter off at school, and she had graduated high school. She was taking some college courses. I had dropped her off. I was going to go back and pick her up. I dropped her off. I headed home. I'm on my way home, regular day, whatever, driving down the road. And then all of a sudden, my heart started to beat really, really fast. And my body started to shake. And I was like, I don't know what's happening. I don't know what's happening. And then tears just rolling down my face, just rolling down my face. And the only thing that I could think of to do was to pray, because that was my go-to all the time. And I know a lot of people downplay prayer, and they say, you know what, you need to go see a therapist and all this. Yes, you do. You can go see a therapist, but you can pray too. You can have Jesus and a therapist, and you can have a therapist and Jesus too, and you can pray. And my go-to was prayer. And I began to pray. And then I called somebody on the phone. I started talking to them, and I was like, I don't know what's going on. I don't know what's happening, but I'm almost to my house. And I was like, I'm almost home. I'm just going to talk to you till I get there, because I'm almost home. So I talked to them on my way until I got home. And when I got home, I said, I just need to lay down. I need to lay down. I need to relax. I need to lay down, and I just need to relax. And I did that. And I was just laying there, and I was like, what in the world is going on with me? Why am I feeling like this? Why is my body doing this? And I can't control it. I could not control my heart rate. I couldn't control my body shaking. I couldn't control any of it. All I could do was just lay there. And I laid in the bed. I cried, and I was like, God, what is wrong with me? I realized that it was grief. I had so much happen all at one time, and I had not processed any of it. I was just trying to keep moving and keep going. And because people, after certain things happened, they would come and they would ask me, like, when my friend passed away, people was like, "Are you okay?" Because it was like a sudden thing. And they were like, "Oh, you can." I was like, "Yeah, I'm pretty good. I'm pretty good." Good evening, Victoria. Thank you for tuning in tonight. But I would say, yeah, I'm okay. I'm doing all right. I'm all right. And then when I had relatives and stuff that had passed away, it was like, oh, okay, I'm okay. I'm okay. I'll be all right. I'm okay. But it was, I didn't know how to process it all. It was all just coming at such a fast pace to me that I just could not process it. And then when we had two relatives pass away in one day, one in the morning, one that evening, and they were sisters. That just threw me for a whole loop. I just sat and was quiet. I couldn't. It's like you can't process that stuff. But what I needed to do was to deal with the grief. What I needed to do was to be able to sit in it and be like, this was a loss. This was an unexpected loss. And I had to just process it. I had to sit and I had to process it, because until I started to really like deal with it and say, yeah, that did bother me. Yes, that did hurt. Yes, I do need to let the tears flow. Yes, I do need to stop trying to be strong for everybody else. Why am I stop trying to be strong for everybody else? Just allow yourself to feel it so that you can be able to release it. And we all go through those processes of grief. And during this time of the year, a lot of people are going through a lot more of it than they would on like a daily basis. But it will affect you in your body if you're not processing the grief. You know what? It will affect you in your body. It will, cause your a lot of people will have like gut issues. They have things going on in their bodies, like with their stomach, with their gut, and it's dealing with grief. It is not because, oh, I ate the wrong food. No, it's because you're not dealing with the grief. Things that we deal with emotionally and stuff will affect our bodies, and we need to realize that. um Grief can impair your immune system. Did you think about that? It's like, because the stress is so strong, and I'm gonna read this off to you. It's because the stress is so strong, it's like it throws your hormones into like out of balance, and it leads to fewer white blood cells, which are the key to protecting the body from infection. So that stress on your body can cause your immune system to be impaired. Just like I told you, you can start having gut issues where you having a lack of appetite, or you eating too much, or you're nauseated all the time, or different things that it can wreak havoc in your system. You're over in or under indulgence in food. Some people won't eat at all because of grief, and you have to make them eat. It's like you have to get in there and try to get them to eat something. And then you get other people who they stuff it. They just sit and they eat all the time because they're trying to stuff it and push it down. I ain't gonna feel it, I'm just gonna eat this food. Some people overindulge in alcohol. They drink more than they ever have in their lives because they're trying to suppress something, trying to get rid of something. And drinking it away is not going to make it go away. It's still going to be there. When you get sober, it's still going to be there. So don't do that either. Find someone that you can talk to. Like I said, therapists are like, people are really talking about a lot of mental health issues and different things right now. And you can go through therapy. But I'm telling you, like I said before, you can have Jesus and a therapist too. Okay? But you can go and you can begin to pray, and you can go to a therapist, and you can have that therapist that you can talk to. And then you can serve the Lord also, and you can pray. Because when I went through some other things in my life, my supervisor, she saw that I was going through a lot. It was a lot of stress on me. When I walked through divorce, it was just a lot of stress on me. I was really like stressed out. And it's you go through a grieving process, even with divorce. You go through a grieving process because something you thought was going to last a long time did not last. Something you thought was going to last forever did not last. So you go through a grieving process. And she was like, Angela, whatever you do you meditate? Do you do this? She was naming off all these different things. She said, whatever you need to do, you can do that. I said, well, I pray. So she was saying, well, if you need a few minutes to go pray, then you can take those few minutes to go pray. Just let me know, and you can go pray. And that's what I would do on days where I felt like, you know what, this is just too much for my mind. It's too much. I need to focus. I would be like, I will be back. And she would be like, okay. And I would go. I would find me a spot. I would either go outside, or I would go in a place where I knew it would be where I would be by myself, and I would just pray. I would pray until I felt that release. And when I felt like a release, I'd be like, okay, I'm good. I can go back in and I can continue to work. It's a process. But I am saying, don't just scale over it and say, oh, I'm going to be okay. I'm good. I'm good. I'm good. I'll be fine. And that's what we want to tell people all the time. Oh, I'm good. Oh, I'm good. And you smile at them and you tell them how good you are when you know you're hurting on the inside. But to look at your face, to look at your demeanor, they would never know that that you're grieving and that you're going through some really hard things at the time. So don't try to mask the grief. Don't try to hide behind the grief. You know what? Walk it out. Embrace how you feel. Allow the tears to come. Allow the anger to come. Allow that quietness to come. Sometimes you just got to be quiet. But I'm saying don't dismiss it. Because a lot of times that's what we do. We dismiss it like it don't even matter. Because we want to keep, I don't know. It's like we have this thing on us where we want to be strong. And we want to just walk it out. I serve the Lord. So I got to be strong. And if I show people that I cry or that I'm weak at this moment, I'm showing them that I'm weak or something, If I cry at this moment, they're gonna think that I'm weak, or they're gonna think that I don't serve the Lord because I'm crying about this situation or this circumstance. Even though we know that if somebody passes away, the way that a Christian believes is that for them to die is to be with Christ. So it's like God can heal them here or he can heal them there. It's like if they live here, great, we have them here. But even if they die and they went to heaven with the Lord, they're still healed. But even though that happens and we know that they are in Christ, it still hurts. We are still human beings. We are spirit beings living in this human body. It still hurts. Just like I told you with Jesus. Jesus wept when Lazarus died. He cried. So why don't we want to cry about something? Why don't we just want to deal with it? Jesus showed us that even in the word, it shows us where he was upset with the people in the temple because they were doing things that they were not supposed to be doing. And you coming in, Jesus is flipping over tables and stuff because of people doing stuff they weren't supposed to do. And we want to hide our emotions. We want to hide. We don't want to share with nobody. Come on, y'all. You're a human being. You're gonna feel. So allow yourself to feel. I am not a doctor. I am not a counselor, psychiatrist, psychologist, whatever. This is stuff I looked up, and this is stuff that I've walked through. And I have learned you got to talk to people. You got to talk. Don't just hold all those emotions in. We were talking about grief will affect your body. So don't hold it all in. Aches and pains that are in your body right now could be because of grief. I'm not saying that all your aches and pains are grief, but some of the aches and pains that you have could be grief. Have you thought about it? Is there some grief that you didn't even really deal with it? You just kind of stuffed it and pushed it to the side. Oh, I'll deal with that later. Oh, I'll deal with that one later. Oh, I'll deal with that one later. But I'm telling you, when things happen to back to back to back to back to back like that, you need to be able to release some of that. You don't walk around and think that you're just, I'm above it. I'm above it. It's not going to bother me. And every time you feel yourself starting to cry, or you feel yourself angry, or you feel yourself just not feeling like together with all of this, you try to push it to the side, pretend like it's not there. Don't pretend. Deal with it. Deal with it. So that you can be healthy. So that you can just continue to grow and to flourish. You don't want to walk around with all these aches and pains in your body and all this stuff that's going on in your mind and in your heart that you're not dealing with, the stuff that you buried over years and years and years ago. And I don't want to deal with it. No, deal with it so you can breathe again. When I started having those anxiety attacks and stuff, I didn't know where that stuff was coming from. But I started to realize it was because I wasn't dealing with the grief. I wasn't dealing with the loss. I was trying to be strong for everybody else. I was trying to make sure everybody around me was good. But I wasn't trying to make sure I was good. You need to make sure that you're good before you start trying to make sure everybody else is good. Like I told y'all before, I've told my kids this. I would tell them this on a daily basis, and I need to go back to telling them this. I was like, be kind to you first, and then go be kind to somebody else. Encourage yourself, then go encourage somebody else. Love you, and then go love somebody else. First, you got to do those things for yourself. Then you can go do them for somebody else. You got to make sure that you're taken care of. Just like when you're on the airplane, and I know y'all hear this all the time. When you are on the airplane, when they're telling you what to do, and before the flight takes off, they're telling you put your mask on first. If something was to happen, then you take care of your child. Why? Because you got to be taken care of first so that you are in the mindset to take care of this child. You can't forget about you in the process. So y'all, during this holiday season, I have all this stuff on here, but during this holiday season, take care of yourself. Whatever grief, whatever thing you have that you're grieving over, whatever person, whatever loss that's there that you're grieving over. And you may say, well, that's my friend, that person hadn't passed away, so I ain't grieving. You could be grieving of what used to be. And it's not that way anymore because of health issues, because of health declining, because things just didn't go the way that you thought that they were going to go. And you have to realize that, your feelings are important. The way you feel is important. And you walking through that grief process is important. It's important for you to be healthy. I want all of you healthy and moving forward. I am not going to take up anymore. I had so much more I was thinking, how am I going to get through all this? And I didn't even get through half of what I wrote down. I'm just speaking to you from experience and from my heart. But I really want you all this weekend, as we're moving into the weekend, deal with the grief, deal with it. Find someone that you can sit and speak to and talk to, or go and get a good therapist that love Jesus and can walk you through some things. Go get somebody who you really connect with, that you really can talk to and be really vulnerable and be open with. You need to be able to talk to somebody. Okay? All right, guys. All right. And if you need assistance in any way, shape, or form, send me an email, wholebeautiful@gmail.com, and I will try to get my best to get you in contact with somebody that you can talk to, because we all want to be healthy, spirit, soul, and body. Okay. Enjoy your families this weekend. Enjoy yourself this weekend. Make sure that you're taking the time to take care of you and walk out that grieving process. You're worth it. You're worth to walk out the process so that you can heal and come out on the other side. Guys, this is my show for tonight. I am so glad that you have joined me. I am Angela D. Oliphant, allowing you to see, hear, and know that whole and beautiful is not just your destination. It is most definitely your journey. Join me again next week, 7 p.m. I'll be right here to share something else with you again. And let everybody know that if they didn't get this show on tonight, they can get it on tomorrow, 4 p.m. It will be a replay, and you will get that same good information. Until we meet again, guys, love you much. Good night.